Hi, Susan. All right. So, Ron is on a roll today. Um, he was quite funny in some of the things here. But what's really great about this reading, um, he addressed quite a few things that you and I were texting about today. So that's really great. Like I think in his past readings when I connected with him, he would slightly address something here and there, but it wasn't really that specific, if that makes sense. Okay. So, the first two opening cards, and by the way, I no longer say like what you remember what I told you about these opening cards. I don't say that anymore because people don't get it. So he chose, these are your first two cards, Bloom and Strength. I'm like, okay. And on this one, the Bloom, I'm not sure if you loved flowers or something, because he says, oh, she's pretty as a picture, in reference to beautiful flowers. That's all I heard with this. She's pretty as a picture. Not sure what your favorite flower was. It's something along those lines. This one, he didn't say anything about. But we're going to come back to that, because later on, he did. All right, so first thing he addressed, you can see there's a lot here, which is fine. I love that. The first thing he addressed, he wanted to recognize his grandkids. This is the Page of Swords. This is the Page of Cups. Whenever those come, any of the page cards come out, they're talking about a young person, right? Um, and this is all I heard when this one came out. Like these keywords up here: quick-witted, chatty. He said, man, he's smart as a whip. And he's talking about, he's addressing the video you sent me of your grandson. And then I know you referenced your granddaughter in your questions and things. Now, I don't know if you guys have more than one granddaughter or more than one grandson. He didn't say. He just wanted to recognize his grandkids. And I thought, that is so cool. Like this one here, the Page of Cups, is about innocence, right? And that's in reference to them. That he just loves them. Now, this one came out later, and it's like a love deck. It's very small, and it's all about loving people in your life, right? And it says unconditional love. He's recognizing he had unconditional love for his grandchildren. And I'm not sure. I saw this picture in my head really, really quick, but he didn't elaborate on it. Was with any of your grandkids, was there a time that, or you still do, or Ron did, that you would blow kisses to them? Because the little picture that flashed in my head was about blowing kisses. And I thought, that is so sweet. That is incredibly sweet. Okay, now, I can tell on this reading, every reading that we do, he gets more and more comfortable with this type of thing. I know the very first one, He was like, he didn't know who I was. He didn't know what I wanted. He was very cautious of me. Well, he's not like that anymore. He knows I only have his well-being and your well-being in mind. So I can, and that's really coming out. And you can see, and this doesn't happen a whole lot, Susan, even with people that I do subsequent readings on. Um, like, if they're a reserved person that I'm connected with, they tend to stay that way. Whereas he started off cautious, like, oh, I'm not so sure about this. Um, every every time I connect with him now, it's like in a split second, just like he, and I allowed it. He came through really quick when you and I were texting about, you need to calm down, you're bombarding her, and just that laughter. And then I looked at the video and I heard his voice, and that's the first time I got to hear his voice. And it was so neat that it's the same voice that I've been hearing in my head this entire time. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right. So you had brought up about his mom being with him for Thanksgiving and such and such. And he was a little funny about this. I don't know how she was in life when she was still on this earth, but he said, I love her. I love being around her, but she sure can be demanding sometimes. And he laughs. And I'm like, oh, I was like, Ron, that's terrible. He just laughed. He didn't mean any harm in it. But he did want to reference your question about his mom being with him. So, and a little bit of that type of thing is going to come back. Not specifically about his mom, but it's almost in reference to where they are, right? Okay. Now, I'm telling you, he got very specific about some things. Now, this one, and this has not, I'm trying to think really quick. I'm not sure this has ever happened with me. Where, so on a lot of the tarot cards, how they come out is the keywords, right? And then if it comes out this way, it has to do with these. Okay, this came out like this, and like inverted, but there's two separate messages for this one card. And this is in reference to his friends in New York. I knew instantly, right? So, this is in reference to his thoughts on talking to Brian about him and his other friend. He's referencing in this both of them, okay? He said it feels like a reunion, and it's just, he's very happy that, I believe it's Brian is his name, that he's conversing back and forth, and that he has a very, a really good rapport with you and talking about Iran. So it makes him happy. And he's so glad that he still cares enough to do that. Okay, now, the other side is about the gentleman, and right offhand, I don't remember the name you had said. This is, the other message has to do with the gentleman that didn't get back to you. Okay? He said, it's disappointing that he didn't get back to you, but, and I have a feeling Ron was like this in like when he was living on this earth. He said, he's dealing with loss and grief. talking about that gentleman that didn't get back to you. Now, all three of these came out at separate times, and I knew they were meant for this. Okay? Now, this is, all three of this is concerning the gentleman that never got back to you. So he has a message for you about that, because he feels like it hurt you because you felt like the gentleman that didn't get back to you about Ron didn't care enough to. But Ron has a message about that. Okay? Mourning, regret, loss, grief. He says, old friend, an old friend from the past. He said, so he's recognizing the gentleman that didn't get back to you. That's who he's talking about. In this loss and grief, mourning, regret, he said, it is not our place to judge. He says, all of this mourning, loss, and grief, he doesn't know how to handle it. And it's easier for that friend to almost avoid it at all costs. He says, it's not our place to judge. And that there needs to have forgiveness. Even if you never talk to that gentleman, there needs to be forgiveness and letting that go. He says, I'm okay with it. He goes, I understand the loss and grief, and he cannot handle it. That's what he's saying. He cannot handle it. So that's why he never returned your calls or messages. He says, we just need to forgive him for that. I'm telling you, he got very, very precise in some of these things. Okay. Now, this, he was a little more cryptic about. And maybe I should use a different word. He, yeah, that's not the right word. Cryptic means he's saying things that are a little strange or weird or offhand remark, and it's not that. He doesn't go into detail about this. Okay? And this has to, I know you asked in your text about 2 different situations that decisions were made. Okay? He's, at least I'm feeling from Ron, he's addressing the one concerning your granddaughter. This one, it's about logical. This is what I'm hearing. You made a very logical decision. You guys did. Okay? That's what that's about. Okay? Change. He says, this is the sentence I hear. I'm telling you, he was short and sweet about it. He was like, change is good. Sometimes change has to happen. And it's the right time for that decisions. That's all he said to me. All 3 cards. That's all he said about it. Okay. Now, he brought up something from our text. I'm telling you, a lot of this was all from our text. And I went through and I made a list of things, and I was just so grateful that he did address so many of them. Okay, Now this, I didn't write down. You had just texted me about it. This has to do with you guys being self-employed that you brought up about being able to spend more time together. I didn't ask him about it. He brought this up. This is the Seven of Pentacles. It has to do with wealth, money, working. So I knew instantly what he was addressing here. He was addressing what you had said about being able to spend more time together because you had this business between the two of you. And it financially, it was good. And he's brought this up before. I am not sure about which reading he did, but he's brought it up before. Right? Workaholic. He said it took him away from you a little bit too much sometimes. And I remember distinctly he's brought that up before. Right? Wasteful. And he's not saying that he was a workaholic or that you guys' business was wasteful. What he means by this, and I can feel where his heart is that if he could go back and do it again, he'd spend even more time with you. And I know he's brought that up before. So. All right. So, we're going to go over here. And these two, I knew these came out at different times, but I knew they were meant to be together, right? The Four of Swords and the Strength card, okay? Mental strength, inner strength. Strength. He just feels like you are one of the strongest women he's ever known. And he is so glad you are, because that strength is what's helping you right now. I was just so happy to see mentally inner strength. Strength. He came back to that. He didn't say a word until these cards were. She's just so strong. She doesn't know another person that's that strong to deal with all of this that got left behind for you. All right. So, we are going to skip just a little bit around. I did keep things all in, like I knew when things were meant to be together, if that makes sense. Okay. This, he thought was so funny. I can hear him laughing. Because you know I stay connected to him until this reading is done. He's so funny. Can you see which card this is? Death. Death. The Death card. And then this one, information overload. So this stands on its own. He thought that was hilarious, that once again, he's going to bring out that Death card. He just thinks that's so funny. And then this one, he laughed also, because this was in reference to what he told me to tell you about. Calm down, Susan. You're going overboard. Too much information. Information overload. And you know what I heard him say? It referenced what you text me about. That Susan's got jokes. He goes, see? Ron's got jokes. And he thought that this was the funniest thing. It was funny. I'm like, oh my gosh. I think he's got a great sense of humor. But yeah, that's all that's all that was about. Nothing heavy, nothing super boy, but he just wanted to say, see, Ron's got jokes too. I just thought that was so cool. All right, so this one. This is in reference to you looking for the video camera. He goes, are you sure you looked everywhere, Susan? You might want to look again. And this picture is showing a gentleman looking up to the top of the inside of a roof with a light. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have at either of your houses, because I think there's you've referenced too. And this is just a thought I've had. That does either house have an attic? That, and if you have, like, have you looked in the attics of any of the houses? I'm like, I am not sending her on some wild goose chase. She's got enough on her plate. And he laughs. He goes, are you sure you looked really good? I love that. Okay, now, these two cards, this is a brand new deck, which I love. And once again, I only use these in readings that have to do with connecting somebody who's passed away, right? Now, he says, this is in reference to what you wrote about heaven, right? He was like, about your question about what do they do all day? Is he just a blob of energy? And he says, no. He goes, no. He says, it's like you've been reborn. Get it? And he goes, get it? Get it, Susan? Reborn? Ha ha. Like, this is in reference to God and the Bible and that being born again. Right? He was like, get it, Susan? Get it? And he says, yeah, you transform. Now, lately in readings, before I even start recording when I'm ready to, I've been asking people, what's it like? What do you guys do? How do you feel about it? And it's very rare. In fact, the last time I asked a lady that had passed away, and she said, some things are not meant to be known until you're here. And I was like, okay. So they don't talk a lot about heaven and what do they do. I do know he did say that they don't have the same time frame, the sense of time that we do. We get up in the morning, we know what we have to do. I have to go to work. I have to go A, B, and C to get ready for work. He said their sense of time is not like ours. That's all he would share about it. So I'm just like, okay, I'll take whatever I can get about this. Okay, so once again, I asked him about the code, right? Because remember I told you I was so curious and I really hope that he tells me this code. Pet. And I'm like, now this is cryptic. He's only like, okay, the last time it had little keywords, and one of the keywords said code word, right? And it was chew up there. And I said, because I asked him before I even started, I was like, come on, I'd love to know, once again, I'd love to know what this keyword is about. And he's really enjoying not telling me completely. This will be the third time. And I was like, okay, so last time the keyword up there was chew. I said, what is it? They're like a dog with a bone? And he just laughs. I'm like, oh, good Lord. I'm like, Ron, I was like, Ron, you know, one of these days you're going to have to tell me what this code word is. So you might know what this is and what it has to do with your code words. But he's not giving that information up. Now, this has to do with you. And remember we talked about looking at pictures? That you're looking at pictures. So that's all this card is about. Looking at pictures, missing you, nostalgia. Right? He's just validating that, yeah, he sees you. He misses you. Missing you. Right? This one, unconditional love. He says, she loved me unconditionally in spite of my faults. See, there's certain things when it comes to Ron, he just wants you to know, short and sweet, how he feels. And that's these two. Okay? He misses you, and he's so thankful that you loved him unconditionally. All right. Now, a couple of these have come out before. So I was not surprised when they came out again. Okay. Sunset. Remember when this card came out? When he says, yep, the sun went down on my life. And when it came up, I'm on a new journey. I feel like when these cards come out, when it's the exact same card, he's just validating that that's what he lost, loved one. Right? This one. He says, this is all I hear in my head about this one. Letting go. I had to let go of her in life, but I'm not letting go of her in death. And that's what I heard. And I'm like, I knew what he meant. That he left this world, he left your physical life, but he's still there and he's not going to let go this time until he sees you again. And I thought that was incredibly beautiful thing for him to say. Now this one, he wanted me to ask you a question. I said, absolutely. He said, I tried to give her a hug, and I'd love to know if she felt me. If she felt like my arms around her. Because he wanted to comfort you. And I thought that was, like, I'm telling you, he was so specific in this reading on so many things. Ask her if she felt me trying to hug her. And I thought, well, that's really cool. Now, this one. This was your last card. Remember this one? Missing you? Miss you. And I believe this has come out before. Right? He misses you. He's eagerly awaiting. He's waiting for you. And he's still there with you. He's still experiencing your life. This one has come out before in the past in his readings. It's just so important for him to know, or it's so important for you to know what he's feeling. Missing you. Miss you. This was a great reading with Ron. He was so specific about, like I said numerous times, he was just so specific. Now, there was a couple of things, like, has to do with decisions concerning your granddaughter. Okay? And that he agrees with it, and change is good. Sometimes change is needed. It was very logical, and it was the right time. So that's just him. And I love that word, validating to you, that he feels like you made the right decisions. I have it written down here concerning your granddaughter. Okay. Yep. One of these days, he might actually tell me, Susan. But until then, this is a very funny game to him until this comes out. And I'm like, are you ever going to tell me? I talk out loud just like this. Are you ever going to tell me? You keep giving me all these little hints, and then you laugh. I'm like, okay, all right, Ron, I see you. And then I instantly said, yeah, Ron's got jokes too. Because I talk to him like he's a friend sitting in front of me and laughing with him about certain things. I was like, oh, you're something, the death card. And then referencing information overload from this morning. You gotta love his sense of humor. You really do. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so this was very enjoyable. A lot of, when I'm doing the first time readings for people, I haven't had a chance to get to know who I'm connecting with. But I've connected with Ron enough that he's very comfortable. And it's like we're talking almost like friends. Like friends would. Right? So it's always a joy reading him. And I love that he got so specific about so many things. That's a first. It really truly is. And I had a talk with him beforehand. I said, okay, listen, Ron, you need to start answering some of her questions. She needs this. I was like, you love her, she loves you, she needs some of these answers. Okay? I said, so do me a favor. This time, just answer some of her questions, okay? It would help her so much. So I was really glad that I kind of got through to him a little bit about, addressing some of the things that you and I were talking about. So I'm hoping this helps you as far as your getting some of your questions addressed and stuff. So, all right. Give me some feedback if you want, like always. And if I can clarify anything for you, just please let me know. All right? You have a beautiful day or a beautiful Saturday, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of mine too. All right? Thanks, Susan.